Okay, thank you. So I will call this meeting of the Canmore Planning Commission to order. Start with a land acknowledgement, and the land acknowledgements are particularly meaningful to me in these meetings because I think every time we come together and have one of these conversations, I'm reminded that we are making decisions about land that has been the traditional territory of First Nations since time immemorial. And I am grateful to have the opportunity to work and live and recreate on these lands. So with that, I acknowledge and appreciate that we are meeting today in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. This land is the territory and home of the Stoney Nakoda nations, consisting of the Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney, the Blackfoot Confederacy, consisting of Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, and the Tsuut'ina Nation, and the District 4 Métis of the Battle River Territory. So as we gather in this territory, we acknowledge that we are all treaty people, and I commit to working to live in right relations and to advance truth and reconciliation. And I acknowledge the many First Nations whose footsteps have marked these lands for generations. Before we adopt the agenda, I would ask each member of the town's administration in attendance today to introduce themselves and give me some grace while I hit the mics to allow you to do that.
Briar Jones, Secretary.
Jessica Thomas, Planning and Development Administrative Assistant.
Harry Schneider, Manager, Planning and Development.
I'll hit the buttons. You just speak when the red light goes on.
Matteo Bertolin, Development Planner.
Jana Bradshaw, Development Planner.
Peter Clack, Community Development Engineer.
Okay, thank you all. So my name is Whitney Smithers, and I will be the chair for this hearing, and I'll just remind everybody that questions and comments should be directed through the chair. I'm going to introduce the board members here to introduce themselves, and I'll start with the member that is joining us online.
Councillor Jeff Hillstead.
Hannah Perry, Public Representative. Hannah Perry, Public Representative.
Florian Young, Public Representative.
Okay, thank you all. So I will ask to the secretary, are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda today as provided?
No, there is not.
Okay, so to the commission, I will move that we adopt the agenda as presented. Those in favor? Okay, that's carried unanimously. And then as we look to the minutes of our last meeting, which, sorry, my computer just locked, so I've got to call them up.
October 16th.
October 16th, thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the minutes of October 16th?
No, there isn't.
No? Okay, so I will move that the commission approve the minutes of October 16th, 2025 as presented. Those in favor? Okay, and that's carried unanimously as well. So we have two matters at Planning Commission today, and the process will be that we have administration do a presentation on the matter in front of us. Commission members will ask questions of administration. If commission members choose, they may ask questions of the applicant or ask for a presentation from the applicant. And then after that, we will make a decision on the application in front of us. So with that, I will ask Ms. Bradshaw, I believe you're first up, to make a presentation on PL 2025-0304.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the CPC. My name is Jana Bradshaw, and I'm a development planner for the town of Canmore. And I'm here to speak to 200 Spring Creek Drive under PL 2025-0304. For some background and site context, we're looking at the site located on the screen as the subject parcel. This is 200 Spring Creek Drive. Adjacent to the site is developed and vacant residential land to the north, visitor accommodation, the Alexander Hotel to the west, and visitor accommodation, the Malcolm Hotel to the south. Policeman's Creek is to the east. The application proposes a 48-unit hotel and associated restaurant development in the form of a single building. That also includes an above-grade pedestrian crossing, or pedway, connecting to the existing Malcolm Hotel. 2 variances to the land use bylaw are being required, and administration supports the variances and the proposed development. For some background and policy direction here, this development complies with the Spring Creek Mountain Village Area Redevelopment Plan, which governs the site. And in 2022, this ARP and the subsequent land use bylaw district were updated to reflect some changes specific to this proposed hotel development. So this included a reduced creek setback from 20 meters to 15 meters, as well as specifying allowable encroachments into this setback. And there were some other additional changes that impacted the Alexander Hotel specifically. So as mentioned, the proposed uses are visitor accommodation and eating establishment within a visitor accommodation building. Both of these are permitted uses within the Spring Creek Mountain Village Visitor Accommodation Direct Control District. From a design perspective, the development complies with the planning principles and urban design guidelines set out in the Spring Creek Mountain Village Area Redevelopment Plan. As you will see in the image, there's a pedway connecting the Franklin Hotel to the Malcolm Hotel, proposed as part of this development. And this is also something that's outlined within the Area Redevelopment Plan. A draft encroachment agreement has been submitted for the town's review and approval and is outlined as a requirement in the Schedule A conditions. Looking at site design specifically, the building is located as required, primarily adjacent to the front property line, and behind the building is where you'll find the large patio and amenity space integrated into the landscaping. The south of the site will tie into the Municipal Reserve pathway, and the north is where vehicles will access the underground parkade. Loading will take place at the adjacent Malcolm Hotel, and this development complies with the minimum yard setbacks, including for the creek and landscaping requirements. It complies with all requirements outside of the 2 requested variances. So as mentioned, there's 2 variances, one for building height and one to allow tandem parking. So I'll go into each of those in detail. Additionally, the project is proposing to achieve Built Green Gold certification as an environmental offset. So looking at the height variance here, section 14.19.5.8 of the DC district allows for a height bonus when the architectural appearance of the building is enhanced. And this does have limitations to it. So up to 20% of the building may exceed the maximum height by up to 10%, and 5% of the building may exceed the maximum height by up to 20%. And the proposed areas to be increased are shown on the screen here, and they fall within those allowable percentages. On the screen is also an overview of where the height increases are shown on the building on the roof plan. You'll also see that the building falls within 2 different height zones as per the land use bylaw. So the areas where the variances are being requested are highlighted in orange and red. And then there's an area within a red outline with slightly different requirements, and no variances are being requested within that space. Administration supports the proposed variance to the height. It's administration's opinion that the proposed roof design enhances the look of the building, adds visual interest, and gives the perception of lower building mass. Furthermore, there was a shadow study submitted, and this shows that the added height will not negatively impact adjacent lots, and the requested variance is in line with previous approvals for the Spring Creek area and has been utilized for most of the village's developments. The second variance requested is a variance to parking. Section 2.7.5.3 states that all automobile parking stalls and loading spaces required by this bylaw shall have direct access to a public roadway or a maneuvering aisle with adequate access to a public roadway to the satisfaction of the development authority. Parking stalls and loading spaces shall not be provided in tandem or stacked configuration unless such a configuration is specifically allowed for elsewhere within these regulations. And a variance is being requested to allow for tandem parking for 14 stalls total, so 7 tandem stalls, as shown on the screen, highlighted in the red box. And this is to be used exclusively for valet parking services. So this is considered, in administration's view, a reasonable variance request, as all vehicles will still have access to a maneuvering aisle through the valet service. And valet services such as this are not uncommon for hotel-style developments. A notice of application was posted on the site, and we did receive one email fairly recently expressing some concerns. There were concerns around the height increase impacting views and creating shadows, and it was determined that this variance request had no direct impact on the private properties nearby, and a shadow study was provided that showed that as well. The height variance being requested is in line with the height variance allowances in the Spring Creek area, and not unlike other variances that were requested. A second concern raised was around increased traffic and congestion in the area, and the proposed development is in line with the Spring Creek area redevelopment plan as mentioned, and this takes overall transportation and parking into consideration. As well, the proposed uses are permitted uses in the area. Administration recommends that the Canmore Planning Commission approve the application, PL 2025-0304. The development complies with the area redevelopment plan. The variances requested are not unreasonable, and an environmental benefit is provided through the Built Green Gold certification. Should the commission decide to approve this application, there are draft conditions of approval prepared and set out in the Schedule A. And this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Are there any questions for Ms. Bradshaw? No? No, Jeff? No? Okay, thank you very much. And are there any questions for the applicant? Or does the applicant have a presentation they'd like to make? Yes? Okay. Yeah, are we okay with that presentation from the applicant?
Yeah.
Okay, come on up. And maybe just start with introducing yourself after you've plugged the computer in.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mina Pavlovich from Metaphor Architecture, Inc., representing the client from Spring Creek for the project and the designer behind this project and project architect. So I will try not to repeat what Ms. Bradshaw already covered, but just a quick overview of the design process. As she mentioned, the site plan, sorry, let me just see if I can make this window a little bigger. Afraid I won't be able to right now, but that's okay. If it's okay for you guys, I'll leave it as is. So as she mentioned on the site plan, just showing the connectivity between the 3 hotels, and that this piece of the 3 hotel development is really the part 3 of the 3-part development, meant to read as one hotel community development. Here we just show the main entrance, a couple of the exits, and the parking to the north, which would be the ramp for all the services coming in. Again, as she mentioned, there will be the pedestrian bridge connecting to the Malcolm Hotel directly, and everything else will be part of the same community. The design features we used for the architecture itself is similar to what's already there, but a little bit different, because we did want it to read as a little bit unique in and of itself, but remain with the same character of the Alpine architecture, beautiful architecture that we see throughout Canmore. It is a gateway connection. We consider it the missing piece of the 3-piece development plan. It will work with the other 2 hotels closely. There is a tunnel connecting the Alexander Hotel and Spa with the Malcolm that's being built underground, and then the bridge will be the connection to the Franklin Hotel. So together they will function as one integrated hotel. And you can see that with the circulation. You have the loading area, which will be shared for waste and recycling pickup to the north with the Alexander Spa. The trucks can come in and pick up and reverse and take the other one and continue through to the back. And then the loading area of the Malcolm Hotel is where any additional kitchen services as needed will be brought up through the stairs and just across the pedestrian bridge to the proposed 3rd floor restaurant in the new hotel. Some form, character, materiality, again looking to be similar enough with some of the aesthetics and colors, but a little bit different to what's already there. We have a lot of fiber cement vertical siding in 2 different tones of gray to match and complement the Rundle stone proposed, and gray stucco accented with oak finish, a lighter wood, faux wood finish, other fiber cement, but given that kind of softer quality as well to have a balance of hard and soft colors and materials. The bridge connection will connect to the Malcolm with the stone as well, so that it does read as one element carrying through from one hotel to the other. On the creek side, I wanted to show this image to really demonstrate how the height does not exceed the other 2 hotels, and that it really is intended to read as one hotel development. The angled roofs and pitches represent, along with the integration with the landscape, really settled nicely with the way the other hotels have been integrated as well. So it really does read as one development and very uniform. And then this is the height variance diagram we put together that Ms. Bradshaw had already shown, just showing how minimally that the roof peaks will be within those allowed variance percentages. However, because they're set back, it won't even be perceivable, as you can tell from the previous image. Just go back. It really does look, in fact, as if it's lower than the Malcolm to the left side. And the last one, just highlighting those 7 tandem stalls as requested. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of the applicant from Planning Commission members? Yep, okay, Ms. Berry.
Hi. Can you please walk me through how the valet parking, the loading and the valet parking will work, given that people are coming to the hotel for the first time and they may not know where to go?
Sure.
Probably something
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Frank, yeah.
Come on up.
Thank you, Planning Commission, for this opportunity to present today. How the tenant parking is the question?
When people are coming to the hotel for the first time, how do they know where to, I guess, to load? How do they know to load at the Malcolm, and how does it work with the valet parking, given that it's a different hotel?
So the loading, number one, is all central receiving will be at the Malcolm Hotel, and distribution is generally going to be at night when we reload the hotel with the other hotels with towels or food supplies. Same thing we're planning to do with the Alexander Hotel. That's tied by an underground tunnel that during the nights and evening shifts will be the ones that do that restocking and redistribution of product for loading. And so central receiving is and shipping that we plan to have As far as the tandem parking goes, we already starting to implement valet parking at the Malcolm Hotel, just because it's a service, the level of service hotel we need to be. So at high use times, we will be doing valet parking. Those 7 or 14 stalls will be that hotel's valet parking area. Those will be designated for valet parking. The people won't be able to go just use those stalls. They'll have to be for valet parking when it's a high use time and people want to pay for the valet parking. So it's a level of service we want to provide as well.
Thank you. I think my question relates more to how it works in practice. If people are coming, how they know to park at the Malcolm, and where the valet operators are coming from. If they're at the Franklin and they have to come over to meet people at the Malcolm, and then
All central check-in is at the Malcolm Hotel. There is no, both hotels do not have a check-in service. It's really, one large hotel with 3 different products that we're doing and servicing. The Alexander's an adult-only hotel with a spa. This is a family-oriented hotel with king rooms for the parents, and there's bunk beds with a bathroom for the other kids. So, and the Malcolm is sort of the mothership, I guess we call it, right? So all check-ins will be at the Malcolm Hotel.
okay, yeah,
service.
that makes sense. I think I missed that, and I wasn't
That's
sure.
right.
I thought it might be just really congested there. People didn't know where to go. The other question relates to with the tandem spots. If a valet operator is trying to get at the back of a car parked in the back, where do they put the other car in the front? Is there like a designated loading area for that vehicle?
So the tandem stalls, the people cannot go get their car. The keys are held by the valet service. So the valet people will pull out one car, pull out the front of the car, put the other car back, and take that car to the front of the Malcolm Hotel for the people to pick up their car. So it's full valet. Those stalls, the only way you can get any of those cars, out of those 14 stalls, is by the valet service, our staff.
Okay, and is there a spot to put the other car, or will there be 2 valet operators?
They'll just be parked in the aisle for a second while they pull the other car out. Yeah,
Okay.
for briefly in the aisle.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, good questions, thanks. Any other questions for the applicant? No? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So then I will move the recommendation, and then we can have a discussion on it if needed. We'll recommend, so Planning Commission, I recommend that Planning Commission approve PL 2025-0304, subject to the conditions of approval set out in Schedule A. Any comments on that, Mr. Youngin?
So I'll be voting in support of the proposal. I think planning, the conclusion to the planning report was very succinct. The variances are very minor. They don't impact any neighboring properties, and there's a commensurate community benefit to the higher level of green construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments before we vote on the motion? Okay, Councillor Hillstead.
I just echo those comments. I think the variances are pretty minimal for what's being asked. I think it does add to the look, and then the valet service makes sense to have tandem in that situation, but not others. So yeah.
Okay, thanks. And then that's it for comments. So the motion in front of us is that Canmore Planning Commission approve PL 2025-0304, subject to the conditions of approval set out in Schedule A. All in favor? All right, that's carried unanimously, so approved. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, and now we'll move on to the second item on our agenda today. That's PL 2025-0426. I'll invite the development officer to come forward for this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. this application has gone through a couple of different versions, and I was actually the development officer on the first application, which was approved in 2023 when I was a humble senior planner with the department. The original application was for a 3-story building that subsequently was it was decided by the applicant that a 2-story building would work better. Mr. Ost was the development officer, and Mr. Bertolin has sort of has been the caretaker of that application during her absence. So this project is located at 901 8th Street, which is the southwest corner of 8th and 8th. Let's see. This is the context of the application. It's located within downtown Canmore. It's right on the edge of the town center district, but it does have town center district designation. There are residences further to the west and commercial to the northeast, and there is a multi-family building to the south. The applicant received approval, as I said a few minutes ago, for a 2-story building in 2024. So that was application PL 2024-0251. The exterior finishes that were approved at the time were wood panel siding. The applicant has now made a request that we change the wood panel to metal siding, which has triggered a variance within the community architectural and design standards, namely section 11.5.7.1, which is that the variance will allow for the installation of metal cladding on all of the exterior elevations. The property was posted by the applicant for this development permit application, and we didn't receive any comments from the public concerning the application proposal. The uses of the building, which were approved by the previous application, are retail sales and an eating establishment. Oh, please ignore the visitor accommodation building, that's a mistake. There is a separate eating establishment that's contemplated on both the first and second floor of the building, and they're both permitted uses within the town center district. This is a rendering of the building, which is a view from the corner opposite on 8th and 8th. So if you were looking at the building from about where the Wood Restaurant is, this is what you would see. Now the policy direction, although the building was approved previous to the implementation of the town center ARP, the amendment is now dealing with the town center ARP, which is now in effect. Metal uses are listed as an accent material, but the ARP is actually silent on metal as a substitution material for wall finishes. The town center district within the land use bylaw requires conformance to section 11, the community and architectural standards. And as I mentioned before, 11.571 states that metal, regardless of finish, is not a permitted material for approved wall finishes that are set out within section 11. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. These are the specifications that the applicant is proposing, and the applicant is present today and is available to make a short presentation and answer questions concerning the materials. We note that this is an interesting problem that the department is looking at, and we have received other preliminary inquiries about the use of this type of metal within the town center area. We know that that section 11, that parts of it are basically dated. It's a 6-year-old document There have been advances in technology within this type of area. For the land use bylaw rewrite project, we do have an architectural consultant who's going to be looking at how specifically the design guidelines will match up with the new land use bylaw. And we were able to review this proposal with our consultant. The consultant noted that you know, this proposed specification is of a reasonable quality for the town center. And they also recognized that the material stood better on its own as opposed to being mixed with something like hardy plank. We have a general preference in informal discussions internally that we would prefer to see a mix of uses. But we also know that the original proposal as it was proved was really for more of a monochromatic look and sort of a unity of materials used within all parts of the building, save the corner feature which we saw. So our recommendation here is that that the development permit amendment be approved, subject to the conditions within Schedule A. We have included the requirement of provision of a spec sample. So once the materials have been installed, administration can go to the site and compare that what was installed matches up with what was approved by the commission, should they so choose. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Schneider. And I also, before we go to questions, if there are any, just want to thank your department for being forward-thinking and evaluating this application, not just in the context of the current bylaw, but in looking forward to where we want the bylaw to be headed. I think that's great. So with that, any questions of administration? No, I don't see any. Are there, so thank you, Mr. Schneider.
Thank you.
Any questions of the applicants? Okay, if you have samples here, we'd like to see them, please.
Yeah, I can.
And when you get to the mic, please introduce yourself for the secretary. Thank you.
Hello, Commission. Thank you for having us here today. I'm Carson from Little Giant Architecture and Interiors, presenting here on behalf of our client, Doan Galerno. And I would also, to the chair, like to thank the planning department for their forward thinking as well. I know these are challenging kind of circumstances to be found upon, but as technology is moving very quickly, we too find ourselves as architects and designers finding newer systems that in the past may not have worked for ourselves. So for some brief context on this, truthfully, we did look at using wood on a commercial building. As we dug into it further, from a building code perspective, on one end, we would require non-combustible materials, but truthfully, throughout the rest of the building, from a maintenance standpoint and longevity standpoint, it did not seem to make sense on a commercial project to use wood. Our next best option would have been a fiber cement panel. To go and proceed with a fiber cement panel on a project like this would have meant using vertical boards that would be larger. The pointedness on the V-groove would be less likely to be seen as noted in like a vertical wood plank board. But also we would be required to implement a lot of horizontal joints on the building, breaking up the elevation vertically, and again, pulling away from that aesthetic of it feeling more like a natural wood. The interesting conclusion here is that we're sort of having a dialogue about what's the best faux wood product at the end of the day, which is kind of an interesting discussion. From our perspective as designers, the metal cladding, in this case, after going through rigorous mock-ups with Lux, discussing with their reps in terms of the lengths and spans of the boards, instead of being limited to the typical 5-foot pattern repetition like we see with most metal panels, as well as even fiber cements, Lux, being a local provider and manufacturer out of Alberta, was able to manufacture a board that could span the entire length for us without any issues regarding jointing, so we can eliminate the horizontal joints, create better corner conditions, utilize it for some more of the column wrap conditions as well, and generally find a better holistic vision for the project in and of itself. It's We pride ourselves at Little Giant on making sure that we have proper design details and are approaching our projects with refined materiality. Truthfully, we, at the start of this, did not believe we would find a metal product that we would enjoy or propose, but after thorough research, this is a product that we did land on. One of the bonuses that we did kind of dig into a little bit is also the fact that most fiber cement panels you can't recycle. They're a composite material. With the metal panel, because it's a steel sheet, you can actually recycle it after the fact, and Lux is a LEED certified company using 20 to 25% recycled materials within their product itself. I've brought a few samples here for the board to take a look at if the chair would let me approach. I can show some of those samples.
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you.
And before I approach, just so you know what I'm talking about, this is the proposed product here that I have in my hand as the metal. This is more or less what is typically approved as a fiber cement panel and something that we could propose to the existing design standards. That concludes our presentation that we have for you guys.
Okay.
Should you have any other questions?
Thank you, that was very helpful. Any questions after the discussion? No? Okay, great, thanks. All right, so I will put forward then a motion that Canmore Planning Commission approve PL 2025-0426, subject to the conditions of approval set out in attachment A, in Schedule A. Any discussion on that motion? Yeah, Ms. Perry.
Yeah, I'm very happy to support this change. I think, in my opinion, the Lux is a higher quality product than a fiber cement. And with the FireSmart, the implementation of FireSmart, we're not going to be able to use wood anymore or as much. So we need to make these changes. So I think that you made the right decision and chose the right product. So yeah, I think it's going to look great.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments? Mr. Youngin.
Yeah, I will echo those comments, and I will also be voting in favor of this amendment. I'm familiar with the Lux product, and I think many people are, because it's actually, the use of it is quite widespread in the community in small-scale developments that are not subject to Section 11. And it's also been approved by CPC on previous applications in industrial areas where the Section 11 doesn't apply or doesn't apply to the same standard. So there's lots of examples in the community of how this is applied, and it's a high quality material. The issue with wood siding, as the applicant mentioned, is maintenance, and especially with like the light-colored woods that are more common these days. Wood siding doesn't necessarily look that good after several years, or requires more maintenance to keep looking good, and this material will keep looking good for a long time. Many benefits to it. It's a local product, as mentioned. It's steel, it's not aluminum, it's a heavy gauge, it's not susceptible to hail damage or anything like that. And I think it will contribute to the very clean architecture of this project, which I would like to commend. So I'm glad that that we're discussing this at Planning Commission, because I agree with administration's comments about the fact that the land use bylaw should be updated in these regards, given that the widespread use of this material in the community, and what I think it's an appropriate use. I think maybe the bylaw was written trying to avoid kind of more industrial types of metal siding, and so I think one of the issues is that having to come to Planning Commission for something like this is a deterrent to some developers. They'll just say, if we have to go to commission, we'll just put hardy siding on it. We'll save money, and we don't have the delay of going to CPC. which is actually ironic because, you know, the intention of the architectural design guidelines is to enhance the quality of architectural materials. But I think in this case, it could actually encourage developers to go to like a lower level product. So I could go on about this for a while, but you know, I'm definitely in support of the comments about updating the land use bylaw and in particular section 11 to be more up to date and to actually encourage, help encourage higher quality architectural finishes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Youngan. Oh, sorry, I turned your mic back on. There. It did make me think, before I go to Councillor Hillstad to see if he has any questions, just a general comment that in terms of the land use bylaw rewrite, I don't doubt that this is already happening because it's a really strong team working on that rewrite, but knowing that there's some process to kind of debrief from these types of variances that are discussed at Planning Commission that can inform the future bylaw, it would probably be beneficial. You look like you have an answer to that, Mr. Schneider.
Yes, Madam Chair. This anything that the Planning Commission is dealing with that represents, well, really any variance, but in particular to Section 11 will be contemplated by the rewrite committee.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Any other comments on this motion before we vote on it?
I agree with basically everything that's been said. I think there's lots of different products out there now that the town will most likely take a look at as they go through the land use rewrite. So, yeah, I think this will be a good product, hopefully, and we'll get to see it firsthand shortly. So, be good to see.
Okay, thank you. So with that then, the motion in front of us is that Canmore Planning Commission approve PL 2025-0426, subject to the conditions of approval set out in Schedule A. All in favor? Okay, and that again is carried unanimously. So that's it. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here today. I will now ask the secretary when the next Canmore Planning Commission scheduled meeting is.
2025 at 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. And now I will move that. Oh, sorry, Mr. Schneider.
Yeah, I would just like to thank Secretary Briar Jones for her dedicated work on the commission. She will be passing the torch as it will on to Ms. Thomas for the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Ms. Jones, it's been awesome, and I've really appreciated your technical abilities and support you've been able to provide the committee, and I'm sure that we will continue to have that level of support going forward.
And I'll be here to support Jess on December 10th as
yeah,
well.
so congrats to both of you.
Yes.
Okay, so I will now move that Canmore Planning Commission adjourn the November 19th, 2025 date of the, I can't even read anymore. I'll move that the commission adjourn the November 19th, 2025 meeting of the Canmore Planning Commission. Those in favor? Okay, and that's approved.